In the quiet suburb of Evergreen Hills, where maple trees lined the streets like silent guardians and the air carried the faint scent of blooming lilacs in spring, Sarah Thompson had built a life of simple joys. At 35, she worked as a graphic designer from her cozy home office, her days filled with pixels and palettes. But her heart truly belonged to the world beyond the screen, to Shadow, her sleek black cat with eyes like polished emeralds. Shadow had come into her life 12 years ago, tiny kitten rescued from a rain-soaked alley during one of Sarah's late-night walks. She remembered that stormy evening vividly, the thunder rumbling like distant drums, the rain pelting her umbrella. As she heard faint mewls from a cardboard box discarded near a dumpster, peering inside, she found him shivering, fur matted, but with a spark of defiance in his gaze. From that moment, they were inseparable. Over the years, Shadow became more than a pet, was her confidant, her shadow in every sense. When Sarah's marriage to her college sweetheart, Mark, crumbled under the weight of unspoken resentments and diverging paths, Shadow was there, curling up on her lap as she wept through endless nights. When she landed her first big freelance contract, he celebrated with her, batting at the confetti she'd tossed in the air. He was the constant in her ever-shifting world, a creature of pure, uncomplicated love. Sarah's home, a quaint two-story cottage with a wraparound porch, echoed with their shared routines. Mornings began with Shadow's insistent paw on her cheek, demanding breakfast. Afternoons saw him perched on her desk, tail swishing lazily as she worked, occasionally knocking over a pencil for attention. Evenings were for cuddles on the couch, watching old movies while he purred like a contented engine. Shadow's playful, Entike, chasing laser pointers, hiding in laundry baskets, or leaping onto high shelves with acrobatic grace, filled her days with laughter. But time, that relentless thief, began to steal away his vitality. It started subtly, about a year ago. Shadow, once a whirlwind of energy, began to slow down. His leaps grew hesitant, his play sessions shorter. Sarah attributed it to age. After all, he was entering his senior years. She took him to the local vet clinic, where Dr. Elena Martinez, kind-hearted veterinarian with a reputation for compassion, prescribed a new medication called Vitapaa. "It's a breakthrough for aging pets," Dr. Martinez had said, her voice warm and reassuring. "It helps with joint pain, boosts energy, and eases the transition into their golden years. Shadow will feel like a kitten again." Sarah trusted her. Dr. Martinez had been Shadow's vet since he was a kitten, guiding them through vaccinations, minor injuries, and routine checkups. The pills were small, easy to crush into his food, and at first they seemed to work. Shadow perked up, his coat shinier, his steps lighter. But as months passed, something shifted. The improvements faded, replaced by lethargy. Shadow's appetite waned. He lost weight, his ribs protruding under his fur like fragile ridges. His joints swelled, making every movement a labored effort. He spent days curled in his bed, eyes dull, meowing weakly when the pain peaked. Sarah's heart ached with each decline. She adjusted his diet, bought orthopedic beds, even tried holistic remedies like acupuncture for cats. But nothing helped. Tests revealed arthritis, liver strain, and unexplained fatigue. Dr. Martinez adjusted the dosage, but Shadow only worsened. "I'm sorry, Sarah," the vet finally said during their last visit, her eyes filled with genuine sorrow. "He's in constant pain. Euthanasia might be the kindest option. We can give him peace." The words hit Sarah like a physical blow. Peace. It felt like betrayal. Watching Shadow suffer, his once vibrant spirit dimmed to a flicker. She knew it was selfish to prolong his agony for her sake. With a heavy heart, she scheduled the appointment for the following week. Spending those days cherishing every moment, brushing his fur, whispering stories of their adventures, and holding him close as if to imprint his warmth into her soul. The day arrived under a gray sky, clouds heavy with unshed rain, mirroring Sarah's mood. She carried Shadow in his soft carrier, his body frail against the padding. The clinic's entrance loomed, its glass doors reflecting her tear-streaked face. Inside, the receptionist, a young woman named Lisa with a sympathetic smile, greeted her. Ms. Thompson, Dr. Martinez is ready? Take your time in the waiting room. Sarah nodded, settling into a chair with Shadow on her lap. The room smelled of antiseptic and faint animal musk, walls adorned with posters of happy pets. Memories flooded her. Shadow as a kitten, batting at her shoelaces. The time he caught a mouse in the kitchen, presenting it like a trophy. Lazy Sundays where he'd sunbathe on the windowsill, his fur gleaming like obsidian. Tears blurred her vision as she stroked his head, feeling the soft rise and fall of his breaths. After what felt like an eternity, Lisa led them to the examination. Rooma, sterile space with a metal table, cabinets of supplies, and a single window overlooking a small garden. Sarah placed Shadow on the table, his body limp. He looked up at her with those green eyes, now clouded with pain, and let out a soft, questioning meow. Dr. Martinez entered, her white coat crisp, stethoscope dangling like a talisman. She was in her 40s, with dark hair tied back and eyes that held a depth of empathy earned from years of hard decisions. "Sarah," she said gently, placing a hand on her shoulder, "I'm so sorry it has come to this. Shadow has been a fighter, but his quality of life, it's not fair to him." Sarah's voice trembled as she recounted the recent weeks of the nights he'd cried out in pain. The way he struggled to eat, his withdrawal from touch. "I can't watch him suffer anymore. But this hurts so much." "I know," Dr. Martinez replied, her voice steady but soft. "Euthanasia is quick and painless. You'll feel no fear, just drift away peacefully. Take all the time you need to say goodbye. I'll prepare the injection." As the vet stepped out, Sarah gathered Shadow into her arms, burying her face in his fur. It still carried that faint, comforting scent of warmth and home. "You've been my everything, buddy," she whispered, tears soaking his coat. "Remember the beach trip? You hated the sand, but loved chasing waves? Or when we moved here, and you explored every corner like an adventurer?" Shadow nuzzled her neck, his purr weak but present, as if offering consolation. Minutes passed in that tender embrace. Then the door opened, and Dr. Martinez returned, syringe in hand. But she paused in the doorway, her expression shifting from solemn to puzzled. She tilted her head, stepping closer. "Wait, ... something's not right." Sarah looked up, heart pounding. "What do you mean?" Dr. Martinez set the syringe down and leaned in, gently parting Shadow's fur to examine his face. His eyes. They've changed. They were bright green last week, but now they're a sickly yellow. Look, there's redness here, around his cheeks. And nose. It's subtle, but it's there. Her fingers probed carefully, and Shadow didn't flinch as much as before. Sarah wiped her eyes. "Is that ... bad? Does it change anything?" The vet's mind raced. Years of training kicking in. Yellow eyes could indicate jaundice, liver issues, perhaps tied to the meds. The redness, allergic reaction, or inflammation? A hunch formed, one she'd dismissed earlier but now couldn't ignore. "Sarah, we can't proceed with the euthanasia, not yet." Sarah's breath caught. "Why? What's happening?" "I need to run some tests, but I have a theory. It might be the veto paw pills. I've seen odd reactions in a couple of other patients recently. Let's hold off. Take him home. Stop all medications. Yes, even the ones I prescribed, and bring him. Back in a week. If I'm wrong, we can revisit this. But if I'm right, ... we might save him." Hope flickered in Sarah's chest, fragile but real. She clutched Shadow closer. "Anything. I'll do anything." As she left the clinic, the gray sky seemed a shade brighter. Homeward bound, she whispered promises to Shadow, feeling the faint beat of possibility. The drive home was a blur of emotions, relief mingled with doubt, fear laced with optimism. Sarah's cottage welcomed them with its familiar creaks and scents, but everything felt different now. She set Shadow's carrier down in the living room, opening it gently. He emerged slowly, sniffing the air, his steps tentative, but curious. Following Dr. Martinez's instructions, Sarah cleared out the medicine cabinet, flushing the remaining Vitapaw pills down the sink. It felt counterintuitive stopping treatment when he was so ill, but the vet's confidence had ignited a spark. "Trust the process," she told herself, echoing the doctor's words. The first day passed quietly. Shadow slept most of the time, curled in his favorite spot by the window. Sarah worked sporadically, her mind wandering to him every few minutes. She prepared fresh food tuna mixed with warm water, his old favorite, and he nibbled a bit, more than he had in weeks. That night, as she lay in bed with him beside her, she traced the contours of his face, memorizing every whisker. Day 2 brought subtle changes. Shadow drank more water, his eyes seeming less clouded. He followed her to the kitchen, meowing softly for attention. Sarah's heart swelled. It was the first voluntary movement in days. She played with a feather toy, and though he didn't chase it, his tail twitched with interest. By day 3, doubt crept in. Was this just a placebo effect? On her part? Shadow still limped, his body thin. But she persevered, documenting everything in a notebook, as Dr. Martinez had suggested. Intake, behavior, energy levels. Friends called to check in. Her best friend Emily, a fellow cat lover, offered support. You're doing the right thing. Emily said over coffee that afternoon, pets are family. Fight for 'em. On the 4th morning, a miracle unfolded. Sarah awoke to a familiar weight on her chest. Shadow purring loudly, his nose nudging her chin. You! She laughed, tears welling. He jumped down with surprising agility, trotting to the kitchen and meowing insistently at his bowl. Fed him, watching in awe as he ate heartily. The day exploded with life. Shadow explored the house like a reborn adventurer, batting at dust motes in the sunlight. He even chased a fly buzzing near the ceiling, leaping onto the couch with a grace she'd thought lost forever. His fur felt softer, his eyes regaining their green luster, the yellow tint fading. The redness on his face had vanished entirely. Sarah called Dr. Martinez, voice bubbling with joy. It's working. He's playing, purring, everything. That's incredible, the vet replied, relief evident. Keep at it. I knew it. The remaining days were a montage of delight. Sarah took Shadow outside to the garden, where he rolled in the grass, chasing leaves in the wind. She introduced new toys, watched him reclaim his territory. But beneath the happiness lurked worry. What caused this? Was it permanent? Emily visited, marveling at the change. It's like a different cat. They spent the evening reminiscing about their own adventures, road trips, failed dates, dreams deferred. Emily, a journalist, suggested, if this is the meds, you need to dig deeper. This could be bigger. As the week ended, Sarah's anxiety returned. Back at the clinic, Dr. Martinez examined Shadow, her smile broad. His vitals are normal, liver enzymes improving, it's a turnaround. But how? Sarah pressed. The vet's face grew solemn. The Vitapa. I've seen 3 other cases, cats on the same drug, similar symptoms. The company might be hiding side effects, jaundice, inflammation, liver damage. We need to test this theory. Sarah's world tilted. The pills meant to help had harmed him? Anger surged. What now? We investigate. I'll contact colleagues, run labs. You document his recovery. Together, we uncover the truth. The investigation began in earnest, and Sarah transformed her home office into a war room, notes pinned to walls, files stacking on her desk. She researched Vitapa online, finding glowing reviews but buried complaints on pet forums. My cat got sicker after starting this. Yellow eyes and lethargy. Anyone else? Dr. Martinez reached out to her network. A vet in the neighboring town reported 2 cases. Another in the city had 5. Patterns emerged. All senior cats prescribed for aging issues, symptoms mirroring. Shadows. Lab results from Shadow's blood showed traces of a chemical compound in Vitapa known to cause hepatic toxicity in some animals. 3 weeks in, they met at the clinic after hours. 12 cases now, Dr. Martinez said, sliding a report across the table. Allergic reactions. The company, Vital Pet Pharma, must know. Sarah scanned the document, hands shaking. We confront them. Yes, but carefully. They're powerful. Sarah involved Emily, who used her journalistic contacts to gather more stories. Pet owners came forward. An elderly man whose tabby died mysteriously. A family grieving their Persian. Subplots wove in. Sarah's ex, Mark, called unexpectedly, offering support but stirring old emotions. She confided in her mother over phone calls, gaining strength from family ties. Meanwhile, inside Vittle Pet Pharma's gleaming headquarters in the city, executives buzzed with routine. CEO Richard Harlan, a sharp-suited man in his 50s, reviewed sales reports. Vitapaa was a bestseller, raking in millions. But whispers of complaints reached the boardroom. "Handle it quietly," Harlan instructed his team. Dr. Martinez and Sarah scheduled a meeting with the company's rep, Mr. Elias Johnson. In a sterile conference room, they presented evidence charts, testimonies, labs. Johnson's face paled. "This is serious. We'll investigate. But stop sales now," Dr. Martinez urged. "We need time." The meeting ended tensely. Back home, Sarah felt empowered yet fearful. Shadow, now fully recovered, sensed her stress, curling up with her. The call came unexpectedly, a follow-up meeting at headquarters. Sarah and Dr. Martinez arrived, nerves taut. The boardroom, Johnson and executives waited. "We've reviewed your data," Johnson said, "but to avoid panic, we offer a settlement. Substantial compensation if you sign an NDA. Bribery." Blood boiled. "You're buying silence while pets suffer? It's business," Johnson replied coolly. They excused themselves, whispering in the hall. "No way," Sarah said. Dr. Martinez agreed. "We go public." They declined the offer, filing a report. With regulatory authorities that night, copies of evidence were secured with lawyers, friends, even hidden digitally. The backlash was swift. Anonymous calls threatened them. Sarah's car tires slashed. Media caught wind. Emily's article went viral. Miracle recovery exposes pharma scandal. Public outcry grew. More vets joined. Pet owners protested. Vittle Pet stock dipped. The lawsuit dragged on for months. Courtrooms became battlegrounds. Witness testimonies, expert analyses. Sarah took the stand, voice steady, recounting Shadow's journey. Dr. Martinez presented data, unflinching. Company lawyers attacked. Coincidence, unproven. Mounted. Internal memos leaked, revealing known risks suppressed for profit. Harassment intensified. Stalkers, smear campaigns. Sarah leaned on Emily and family. Dr. Martinez faced professional isolation but found allies. Subplot. Sarah adopted another cat, Luna, giving Shadow a playmate, symbolizing hope. Victory came on a crisp winter day. The jury ruled in their favor, call ordered, massive settlement awarded. Vittle Pet crumbled, executives resigned. Funds. They founded the Shadow Foundation for Animal Safety, funding research, awareness campaigns. Reflecting, Sarah walked with Dr. Martinez's shadow at her feet. "We saved more than him." The foundation grew, hosting events, saving lives. Sarah found love again, perhaps with a fellow advocate. Life bloomed anew. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.